This exercise accompanies part 1, exercise 1 of the graphite module, and it's to do with drawing continuous lines. This is something that you need to be able to master. There's lots of ways of mark making on paper, and you'll use different techniques and different weights and angles with your pencil, but it's quite important that you learn to draw continuous smooth lines, and that requires a bit of confidence really. So a good way of practicing that is to draw parallel lines, and that's what I'm doing. I'm using a softer pencil than I would normally start with. I'm using a 2B, but a HB will be fine. I'm just using that so that you can see it, and you can see it has already started doing a few. This is something you can just practice at any time really, you know, and you want to be working with confident strokes. And just keep practicing. You can practice it on your telephone, when you're on the telephone, on a pad of paper or whatever, you know, you can just carry on with it, and you can try curves. And the more you do, the easier it becomes. Get some more in there. You can try longer ones. So I'm not lifting the pencil from the paper at all while I'm doing that, and that's something that you need to practice. Now there are lots of other ways of doing it. Sometimes you have to lift your pencil, but try and lift it where there's a junction, so that if you're drawing shapes such as a leaf, you've got a leaf that's in two halves. So you've got a midrib, you've got a leaf tip, and that would be a smooth edged leaf, you know, just an outline of a very simple basic leaf shape. But the important point being that you've created a curve that's a naturally occurring smooth curve. So for exercise 1, if you practice some simple parallel lines, smooth shapes, and just keep doing it until you get more and more confident with it and more comfortable with it, and then we can look at different shapes and different techniques and mark making with a pencil. What you don't want to do is this, and this is what quite often people do when they're drawing, is they're hesitant about it. And they tend to draw like that, and it gives a jagged edge. Now when you first start sketching out something in a drawing, you might want to start with a lighter pencil mark. You might want to start with an HB pencil. I'm using a mechanical one here. Not working. Right, and start with very light, loose lines. When say you're drawing a leaf, for example, you might want to feel, you might feel a bit, it might be a leaf with a serrated edge. So you might just want to draw in a loose shape of where it is before you actually draw in the main lines. You can easily erase any marks that you want to get it right before you actually put in your main lines. So say for instance that's not wide as I would want it to be, for instance. I might start with something like that and then draw it in properly afterwards. When I do come to draw it in, now I've got natural junctions here because I've got leaf serrated edges. This is a rather simplified version of a leaf, but it's just to demonstrate a point, and on a smooth. And I want to practice some of these. It's just about gaining control of the pencil. And we can look at perspectives later, but try and fill a couple of pages with parallel lines, simple leaf shapes, circles, squares, just to get some control of your pencil.